Welcome back to another Finance Friday. Y'all, I am so excited. We are at 475 subscribers. We are almost at 500, and that is so crazy. We had so much growth this month, so thank you all so much for being here. If we can get to 500 subscribers by the end of January, that would be even more awesome, but I don't expect that to happen, but I just really appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much for showing up for my content daily. But before we get into this video, hi to all the new people. My name is Brooke. I'm 29 years old. I live in North Carolina with my husband, and on my channel, I do lifestyle vlogs on Mondays and finance videos on Fridays. So if you like a mix of lifestyle and finance, please make sure to subscribe. I would love to have you over here. Today, I'm going to do a very fun video because I have been thinking about what it looks like to do Coast FIRE. So FIRE, if you don't know what it stands for, is Financial Independence Retire Early, and it is where you basically save up as much money as you can in different tax advantaged accounts, taxable brokerage accounts, so that you can quit your job and just live off that for the rest of your life. Now, for me, that seems a little bit extreme because I don't know if I want to quit working at 35 or something like that. That seems a little bit, too extreme for me. So what I have really been leaning into over the past couple of years is this concept of Coast FIRE, which is where basically you have your FIRE number, what number you want when you retire that you can live off of, and you take that number and you basically try and get to a certain portfolio value and then just allow that money to continue to grow until traditional retirement age, or really whatever retirement age you decide. And you then don't have to worry about contributing to your retirement accounts because your retirement account is going to continue to grow, hopefully, as long as the markets, stay strong and we see the average annual returns over the past 100 years continue on into the future. So, there is some risk in this. We don't know what the future is going to be, especially when it comes to stocks and bonds. And I'm just a person on the internet that talks about this. I cannot guarantee any sort of good financial outcome. But the point of Coast FIRE is that you want to have that safety net of knowing that when you retire from your job, you will be taken care of. But you also want to live for today. I like to live for today, but I also want to be financially responsible. So having that Coast FIRE idea in mind really helps me to put things into perspective. Like, it is okay that I want to spend money on vacations and stuff now, because as I continue to grow my investment accounts, hopefully my investment accounts will get to a point where even if I didn't put a single dollar more into those investment accounts, they would continue to grow. And then by the time that I'm retired, my husband and I would have the money that we would need to live off of comfortably. So what I wanted to do was go through a Coast FIRE calculator for you. There are a lot of different ones online, so you can literally just Google search Coast FIRE calculator and you'll find one. This one I found is from Wallet Burst. So let's go through how to set this up so we can look through the numbers, and I'll use our numbers to kind of show you what we're looking at. So also, if you don't know about Coast FIRE, this will also kind of give you a little bit of information about what it is so that you can understand it as you go through it. But when you're looking at this calculator, there are a few numbers that you have to have in order to make this calculator work. And it has this graph on here that will chart different things. It'll chart your net worth growth over time and also a number of what you need to have by retirement. Our current age is 29, basically 30, but we'll still be 29 for a little bit longer. And this is the traditional retirement age of 67. So I'm pretty sure that we're going to probably want to try and retire a bit earlier. But for right now, I just want to see what it looks like if I chose that 67-year-old retirement age. An average spending in retirement, this is definitely not going to be $30,000. We want to make sure that, when we are in retirement, we are setting ourselves up for not living on beans and rice. We want to still continue to live well into our golden era. And so instead of $30,000, I have kind of calculated, I think hopefully by that time we would have our mortgage paid off of whatever house we're living in. Our expenses would be fairly low, but we still want to travel and buy nice things and things like that. So I'm aiming for a $125,000 annual spending. And this is probably too much, but I would rather be over-prepared than under-prepared. And then the next thing that you have to look at is your current invested assets. So anything in your 401ks or your IRAs or your taxable brokerages, all of that will go into this number. And so combined, my husband and I have about $250,000 in retirement savings right now, which I think is pretty good at 29. And our monthly contribution, this is where you can see like how fast it's going to take you, because right now it's saying that we'll probably never even really reach there, because we will just not have enough if we only put in $500 extra a month. But obviously our contributions are not that. So I did some calculation, and between our Roth IRAs, our 401k contributions, and our employer contributions to those 401ks, I calculated that out to be about $4,000 a month that we've been putting into our monthly contributions. So as you can see, this really changed chart over here. So I'm going to move myself over so that we can see that. And you can see that by the time that we reach 67, we have that number that we need. And let's look at some of the other settings that you can look at. So the investment growth rate, I would say 7% is pretty conservative. I'm actually going to go for a 9% growth rate. And the thing that I like about this calculator is that it is taking into inflation, the inflation rate of 3%. So what we're looking at is $125,000 in 20 whatever, like basically by the time we're 67, like that number, instead of how much $125,000 is worth in today's dollars. So this would be in future dollars. We would have $125,000 worth of spending at that inflation rate. And then our investment growth rate of 9% is pretty conservative. Some people go 10%, then minus the 3%, which would land you around 7%. But I think that 9% is a good investment growth rate minus the inflation rate. So really we're around like a 6% growth rate. And then our safe withdrawal rate is 4%. However, Bill Bengen did update the safe withdrawal rate. So he was the person who came up with the Trinity study that looked at retirements over 30 years and saw what a safe withdrawal rate was, so that over a 30-year period, you would never run out of money. Because if you retired at the traditional retirement age of 65, basically you're saying you want your money to last until you're 95. And he found that if you did 4%, you're pretty good. You probably would not run out of money using a 50-50 split, I think, of stocks to bonds, or something fairly conservative where your money is going to be safe. But he's updated it, and now the safe withdrawal rate is actually 5%. So that's what we're going to go up to. We're going to do a safe withdrawal rate of 5%. I am expecting the markets to continue to do well in the next 40 years of my life, so I'm going to go with that. And so it looks like if we look at the Coast Fire number here, the Coast Fire number that we would need in order to stop investing in our retirement accounts would be $273,000. And we already have $250,000. So this calculator is actually saying we are only 1 year away from being Coast Fire, which means that by 2027, if we got to $273,000 in investable assets, we would not have to contribute to our investment accounts for the rest of our lives. Now, that is not accurate. Like, we're definitely going to continue to be putting in money. We're not going to stop next year and just be like, oh, now we can spend all this $4,000 that we've been putting into retirement on whatever we want. So I actually want to look at what the scenario would be if we change the age, because I don't want to work till 67. I feel like that I could do better than waiting till 67 to retire. So let's go down to a retirement age of 65. That's actually the age that my dad retired at. So, traditional retirement age for people in that age bracket is 65. But now if you retire at 65, you don't get all of your benefits until 67 based on your birth date, whatever. It's confusing. But let's just see how far away we are if we just change the age 2 years and we retire 2 years earlier. And so this actually means our Coast Fire number has to be 306,000, and we're only 2 years away from Coast Fire. So that means we would only have to be putting in $4,000 a month for the next 2 years, and then we would get to that $306,000 number, which is crazy. So then it means we're pretty set up by traditional retirement age of 65. But I want to stretch us one more time. I actually want to try and retire by 60, which is 30 years from now. I think that 30 years from now seems really doable. So let's see what number we would need and how long it would take us to get to that. So with the safe withdrawal rate at 5% and our investment rate, including inflation, be equaling out to be 6%, our Coast Fire number would need to be 410,637 for it to grow to this Coast Fire number. And if we look at this red line, this is our Coast Fire line. And our Coast Fire number with $125,000 a year at a safe withdrawal rate of 5% is 2.5 million. And even with this, it's saying that we are only 4 years away from being Coast Fire. And that is really awesome. That is gratifying to know that we're pretty close to the finish line. And if we want to retire at, a traditional retirement age of 67, we can get there even faster. But yeah, I thought that this was so cool to look at and to see, it really takes that compounding interest and it really gives you that sense of if you start working on this from a young age, it really helps you set up your entire life so that you can slow down at a point and you don't have to feel like you really have to keep grinding. And I think that's why I wanted to start my personal finance journey so young, because I knew that time was on my side. But y'all, this was such a fun video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments below, what is your fire number? Our fire number is 2.5 million. And if we want to retire at 60, we are about 4 years away from getting there if we do Coast Fire. So I would love to know all of that down in the description below. Thank you all so much, all the new viewers here. I really appreciate all the subs. But yeah, I will continue to be making finance videos on Fridays and vlogs on Mondays. So make sure to watch those. I really appreciate all of the likes and comments, y'all. It just really makes my heart happy. I'm doing this just for fun, I'm doing this as a creative outlet and also a way to educate people about personal finances, and that you can really start with a little bit of money, but if you start early and you start young, that money can really grow into a really wonderful life for you in the future. As always, please make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.